All right, people are trickling in, so it's great to have everyone joining us today. My name is Julie Uval. I am the head of marketing for Beck Technology, and today we have Jeff Caffrey, who's an estimating manager at Harper Corporation in South Carolina. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, appreciate it. I work for Harper Corporation. We're a general contractor in South Carolina, headquarters Greenville. I work for our environmental systems division, where we specialize in water and wastewater construction, pump station, kind of utility construction in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So a little about us. Our company's about $250 million a year. That's our environmental systems and our commercial. Environmental, maybe we're 70 or 80 on our own.
Fantastic. And for those of you that are on the webinar, if you have questions today, please post them in the chat and we'll ask them at the end. So Jeff, I want to jump right into this and not waste anyone's time. So you are working in the environmental systems segment of the company. What has it been like to work with Beck Technology in regards to using Estimator in the environmental system setting?
Yeah, so I think when Harper, we started our search for new estimating software about 2 years ago now. We were thinking commercially. We were also thinking about our environmental systems division being a large portion of our revenue. So that was definitely played into our selection and what brought us to Beck. I think environmental construction versus commercial, obviously a lot of self-perform. So it's more concerned with the parts and pieces, purchasing every piece of material, pipe, this and that. So we look for that in our takeoff and the takeoff component of the software. And I think that's something Beck does really well. I think with environmental setting, sequence is a big thing. Flow sequence, less so of, you do your foundation and your studs and your exterior. We'll be really worried about where the water's going, what you're doing when you're building this. So that's a big piece of what drives us. I mean, like with any construction, time is money. So figuring out how to do it faster and better with the least impact is critical, and that's a huge part of our estimating and really in the environmental world. So I think the big pieces that I think Beck does great right now is the parts and pieces takeoff. So being able to build my takeoff software for every type of valve or piece of pipe, and then go into the drawings and click and do my takeoff, and then have a good clean list I can price off of is very good. Areas maybe you can improve, I think, down the line is kind of talking about labor productivity, taking that off a little better. Right now I use assemblies for crews and equipment, and that works great, and I can tie it right into my takeoff. I think there's a little bit more that can do there as far as how productivity is calculated based on while you're taking off. But really, it's great. I mean, we're able to make it work for us, and it's sped us up a ton.
So you said that a couple of years ago, you guys decided to look for a new estimating system. What led you to Beck Tech, and how has it changed from, let's say, before Estimator, so BE, versus after Estimator, AE? So what's the difference between the efficiencies that you found on your project within your team as a company, BE versus AE? So can you talk a little bit about those efficiencies that you're seeing, or is it just revamped processes, or we're able to see data more clearly? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what's that big difference that you're noticing?
Yeah, no, that's great. I think the biggest thing, and one of the big attractors for us was the kind of single solution, the one-stop shop. We saw a lot of the problems and maybe errors we make happen when we're transferring information from our estimate to our schedule values, from our schedule values to our budget. And then, maybe we're doing another revision, so we have to go back, make our revision, and go forward. Every time you do that, you open opportunity for mistake. And you also make it harder to backtrack what you did. Hey, how did I get to this budget number? And you have a bunch of steps to get back. So when we went out searching, Beck looked like it was really great. It had the embedded Excel in there, had our takeoff in there, and had our estimate all in one spot. So we're going from, A, takeoff, loading plans, and all the way to, Z, which might be schedule values and a budget in one piece of software. And it's all talking to each other. So I think that alone was huge efficiency. Now I can just be worried about takeoff and my pricing, and then all of a sudden I've got my schedule values. Or really what's big in our market, environmental systems, it's on municipal work. So sometimes there'll be bid forms where you can break your price out 1,000 different ways. So being able to build my bid form into BEC, into the Excel module there, is super helpful. So I can be making cost changes last minute or 2 o'clock bid, and then they're getting reflected in my bid form, and I just transfer it over. So I think that was huge efficiency. I mean, just the bid day alone for that bid form stuff, that was always a headache for us, and always a huge opportunity for mistakes and errors. So we've seen a lot of good things. And then another item kind of tied to that, I mentioned schedule values, but then with negotiated work, and this is more prevalent on the commercial side, but what we see in our work too, multiple revision management is huge. So we have a revision, and then things change, we get new drawings, and we're trying to figure out what changed and how we're going to update our estimate. Instead of starting from scratch, we have a base, and we're able to not only make the changes based on the new plans and specs, but our schedule value stays consistent. We keep the same items, we keep the same way we broke out. When the price changes on concrete from revision 1 to 2 to spec, I'm confident I can say exactly where it came from. In the past, our 90%, you move your money around differently the second time, and it doesn't match up perfect, and then the owner's got some questions, and you're having a lot of double handling. So, in short, eliminating the double handling has been very useful, and it puts it all in one spot for us and reduces opportunity for mistakes.
That's awesome. And you mentioned a little bit, number shifting and the owner going, hey, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah. What's
the feedback been is Estimator helping you as a communication tool among your team, as well as communicating with your customers? Like, is that helping? Is it getting everyone on the same page? Are you creating standards? Tell me a little bit about like the team dynamic and then also interaction with your customers.
Yeah, I think so. Talking team first, I think, and I'm sure any estimating department runs into this, but me and my team, everyone does things maybe a little bit different, and you try to get everyone doing the same thing the same way, but everyone's got their preference. Everyone thinks a little bit different, so everyone kind of does things different. I think without eliminating that, because I think there's value there. Someone's really good at earthwork takeoffs, and that guy's really mechanically minded. Without losing those value, all going into BEC and instead of having your own spreadsheet and trying to pull them all together on bid day, it's all in one spot, and we're all kind of more or less forced to do things to a certain standard to enter into BEC. So that way, a third party coming in, the project manager at the end, can come in and can see it one way, and it's not trying to go chase down 10 different spreadsheets, and he always does it this way. So that's been useful. I think that's a growing pain and something to be expected with switching new software that we've run into, but I think it's getting out and has been helpful in the back. And then, so for the client side, I think, like I mentioned, consistency of reporting is huge, especially on a project where you're going through a lot of revisions, a lot of different value engineering, saving money. So for them to have the same report that from 0% design, it looks a certain way, and then at 100% design, it's the same category, same layout that we decided upon, is huge. They can see the whole revision history along the whole thing, where you get into a lot of changes and are moving money around to try to make it fit and work every time. It may not be a good picture of really how the project developed and how the money developed and changed up the project. So I think I'll be honest, I haven't had too much client exposure to BEC's reporting yet, but I can already anticipate. I can see that's something I've struggled with, getting it clean and then having something clear to look at. And the way we've BEC's going to help us have a report, I know it's going to be popular for sure.
That's awesome to hear. So we asked everyone that registered today a couple questions, and one of them that came in was they wanted to talk about managing existing work and winning more good work. So how has bringing DESTINI Estimator into your workflow helped you in regards to managing the work that you have, as well as landing additional work?
Yeah, glad you asked that. So managing, this is kind of, a so what for operations. And I think that was a question, we got around the office. We're making this investment and switch, and then all their reports look different. So they say, well, why are you even doing this? The way I sell it to our operations folks and the way they see the value, which again, we're still on the early side of that, but is clear tracking back. And I talked about this a little bit with the double handling, but when they've got their budget and they say, look, you gave me this number for this scope, or for this material for this scope, where did it come from? I don't know where it came from. And in the past, it's, well, that came off a stone takeoff that was over here, and then it got lumped into this with waste. And there's maybe a lot of work for them to figure out exactly where things came from. So it's a little bit of a selfish thing, because getting everyone into this, in comfortable with back reporting and the way to navigate back through the software after they have a budget, means they're less times going to come to me and say, what the hell did you give me, you know, where's the money? It reduces that for sure, but it makes it very clear for them. So if there was a mistake or something, we're getting the answer. No one's wondering what money went where. It's one stop, so it's easy to see the funnel in reverse. So I think that's been huge, really will be huge for me and for our operations staff, and helps them explain, you know, change orders, stuff like that a little bit better. And speaking of that, I think that's something we haven't done yet, but I think there'd be some value for some consistency with our change order pricing on a project with an owner. Hey, here's the schedule values we've been looking at the whole entire time through all design. And our change order is going to look the same way. I think there's some client, value there, and I think our operations staff, if I can get them all trained up and learn how to use it, we'll find some value in it too.
That's awesome. Yeah, we hear from a lot of our customers that being able to track the changes over time has opened up doors to have more meaningful conversations instead of just reacting to kind of like whoa, where did this information come from? So it's awesome to see you guys are seeing that. Another question that we asked registrants was if they can make a current change to their estimating process, and the big thing that a lot of people said was that they wanted to reduce the waste in what they're currently doing. So have you seen improvements in waste reduction since using Estimator as it relates to your internal processes?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that would be the driver for, it was driving for us, and we're seeing the results, and I think it's the driver for anyone looking for new estimating software or seeing a way they can get better, more accurate. It's get more accurate, reduce waste, be able to do things more consistent and quicker. So, 100% we've seen that. I think the big one is the multi-handling, taking data and bringing it to different spots, and then when there's a change, trying to go backwards and get back to where you were. So that's the big one. Reducing that. You enter it once, it's in there once, and then every report or bid form or new drawing you need or get just goes in there, and you can make the changes there. So that's one piece of reducing waste. Another one that I would say a little intangible right now, because we haven't had a new one come on, but is with the software itself. Learning new software for some people can be really easy, for younger maybe, and for others it can be very difficult. So you put it all in one spot with one common user interface, and then all of a sudden, when someone learns it and feels comfortable in it, they can do everything you do, A to Z. They learn one software, really good at that, and they're kind of landlocked there. So I think that's we haven't had that yet, but I think that will be valuable. This is a side note, but people, our estimators have said already that they like the layout and the UI. It feels like Office. Everyone uses Microsoft Office, so it has the same feel. It's got it's intuitive. With still having some depth and a good deal of depth that you can dig into. So that would be a big piece for reducing waste, the handling and just the software itself. Maybe more productivity based, closer to our actual work would be like me. In the past, I haven't had like strong assemblies for our crew labor, and what all comes with having men on site, all the costs associated with that, having someone there for an extra day, being able to build a specific assembly or several, depending on what we're doing, and pull it up and say, all right, 2 more days of work for this crew and the new equipment and these pieces of material has made it so much better. I'm no longer trying to think, okay, we got per diem, we got this, we got to pay for that every time. So having our old software wasn't very good. You could build assemblies, and they were great when you built them, but they were really hard to edit and change. Decks are a lot more intuitive. Once you got them built, there's obviously some work up on the upfront there, but I've already had changes where, hey, this guy's unit rate is coming in low, we need to change it. If I can do it quick on the fly, it makes me more likely to actually go and make that change when I notice that mistake, and not put it off for later. And it makes it just makes it more accurate all the time. It's easier to use. So definitely, that's a huge waste reduction there for me.
That's awesome. I also want to encourage our attendees, if they have questions, to please submit them. We were at an event last week, and one of the pre-construction professionals in the room said, everything would go smoothly if they did what I told them to do. So it was like, don't listen to anyone else, do what I do, and standardization across the board. And I think that's where, we get into that mindset. If you have multiple tools and trying to get everyone to work in a same platform and use the same, reporting structure and file structure and all that stuff, it does get pretty muddied. So even though you're talking about, hey, this one platform is helping your team to see some streamlined things, and also hopefully creating some standardization across the company, regardless of the market that they're working in and the projects that they're working on.
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on something I was just thinking about is learning the software and different softwares, and hey, do it my way. And this is something we've run into. We've purchased softwares in different respects, and everyone in construction, time is your commodity. How much I can spend a lot of time on this and make this estimate extremely accurate, but what cost? Or I got 10 other things to do. So it's constant balancing game, and same on operations side. What's worth my time to really dig into? So that too, we get a new piece of software that could help us a little bit, but we got to really dig into it and really figure it out. And there's a lot of setup and all this. So we run into that kind of bloat before. It's like, we got it, we use it a little bit, but then next time it comes up, we'll just do what we used to do. It's quicker and easier. So I think the keep it simple aspect, especially in estimating pre-construction, where a lot of times we could have just a hard deadline. It's going to be 2 p.m. on this day. It's useful. I mean, if you're already in the software, if you know that software, you have to do anything, and we can just, let's start taking it off this way, and we can make a change there. It's not, let's add a third piece of software, go learn that, go make it how we fit it into our workflow. We already have a streamlined workflow. So that's something I've personally run into, and I'm sure other people have, is, I could take anything off perfectly if I had unlimited time, but everyone's time is limited. So how do you manage that?
I think that's definitely the resource that everyone in our world is wishing they had more of.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff,
budget.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Jeff, I'm going to wrap this up. Is there any lasting remarks that you want to leave with our audience today?
No, I would say, just from I'm definitely biased, but I think we looked at a lot of software when we went out to the market trying to find something that would fit both our commercial division and the environmental division I work with, and that stood out for a lot of reasons. I think we've been everything we've expected or asked of. They've been able to do. It's been a great process, and we got a lot more learning to do. There's a lot more we can do. Time commodity thing, but we've been really happy with it, and it's definitely made us faster and more accurate.
Well, Harper Corporation has been a great partner to work with through all this, so this is fantastic, and I know that we'll continue to do more things together. A couple of housekeeping things. For everyone that's on this recording and anyone who registered for it, we're going to be sending out our August webinar invites coming up in the next week, and we'll have another one of these estimating life webinars, as well as a product feature webinar that we're doing every month. In addition, if you want to meet with Beck Tech, we're going to be in several places at the same time. So a couple of things, we have pre-construction coffees that are happening. Those are our roadshow events. We're going to be coming to Portland August 13th, and then Irvine, California, August 14th. And then we're going to be at a couple of industry events. We're going to be at Procore Groundbreak October 8th through 10th. We'll have a booth, so please reach out to us. We'd love to meet with you and hang out. And then if you're going to be coming to Fort Worth, we're going to be at LCI Congress October 14th and 18th, 14th through 18th. So that's kind of our neighbor over to the west. So we'll be over there for those few days, meeting with LCI and really diving into lean construction. So Jeff, thank you so much for today. Everyone, if you have questions, if you want to meet with us, please reach out. And we're going to call it a day for this webinar.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Bye.